filed a notice of tender payment. I'm challenging the jurisdiction.
Actually, that's not
That
correct. The file indicates that you submitted an affidavit of poverty.
on the order, it did not specify how to pay.
It was
Ma'am,
your obligation. Mr. Freehold, please mute
ma'am,
Ms.
I need to
Ballard if
finish
she's going
what
to
I
continue to
have to
speak over me.
say. You cannot make a
Obviously, you
ruling over
disagree with
something
my
that
order.
you don't know.
I'm sorry, Ms. Ballard.
You
I
cannot make a
did not hear
ruling
you.
over something you can't know. You saying you don't know is an unacceptable response.
Absolutely. Here's a polished, punchy version with that same lively, attention-grabbing vibe. This sovereign citizen showed up in court the other day because she refuses to pay her landlord the rent she owes. And of course, she brought the full sovereign citizen starter pack, fake documents, made-up legal terms, the whole Fantasyland playbook. But the best part? The judge finally snaps, and she completely loses it. It's wild, it's chaotic, and honestly, it's super entertaining. From start to finish. Let me know in the comments. Should sovereign citizen money be accepted as rent? Because I need to hear what y'all think about this madness. All right, let's dive in and watch this judge versus sovereign citizen showdown unfold. Want it tweaked for a YouTube intro, TikTok voiceover, or something else?
I'm not going to call your case formally right now. Right now, what I'm looking for is how long do you think that it will take to present what you want to present to the court today?
To my understanding, has the court reviewed the affidavits that has been submitted?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Okay, so what can I expect as far as procedure? How will this hearing go?
Well, so typically what will happen, because you are the movant, you're the person who's seeking relief. So I would call on you to make any presentation that you would want to make. Sometimes people choose to do that. Some people don't choose to do that. But the idea is that if you wanted to explain to me what your position is in some shorter or different way from how you put it in the filings that you made, and then I would call on Ms. Akpati on behalf of her client to make a response. And then typically, because you're the movant, I would let you have the last word. And then sometimes I rule during the hearing. Sometimes I take it under advisement. It just depends on the circumstances. But if you wanted to make a presentation to outline verbally for me what you believe are the important issues, how long would that take?
I'm not sure. To my understanding, with this hearing, I was under the understanding that the affidavits that have been presented are fully understood, and that based on what I have submitted, that there would be a proper decision and ruling.
Okay, so I'm interpreting that, Ms. Ballard, as you wanting to rest on the materials that you've sent, and that's perfectly fine. Ms. Akpati, what presentation, if any, did you intend to make? I'm just trying to get a time idea of how long this might take.
5 minutes, y'all.
Okay.
From my position, I filed an affidavit of priority interest in the property. I don't understand how we can be at this point when I'm not a tenant and there's no contract for being a tenant. The other party, the opposing party, says that they have interest in the property, saying that they have a sheriff's deed, which is what it's a color of title. It's not the title. There's no position of equity with that sheriff's deed. So to my understanding, with there not being a contract, and I'm challenging the jurisdiction of this other entity, I'm requesting that this motion under the titles, under the Rule 60V, that, this is thrown out. It just, we don't have a contract. There's nothing to really argue here. So, it's clearly displayed and stated in the affidavit that I submitted. And bottom line, we don't have a contract. The other entity does not own this property.
Oh, this one's gold. Here's a tightened up version that keeps the snark sharp and the flow smooth. So your logic is basically, we're on free land, and because you're a sovereign citizen, you don't recognize any contracts from within the United. States? Sounds like you just Googled how to avoid consequences and ran with the first Reddit thread that popped up. These people really act like being born in America is some kind of personal attack. Like, bro, you're literally standing in a courtroom built by the government, using roads paved by the government, drinking water filtered, surprise, by the government. If I were the judge, I'd sentence her to exile. Just pack her up and send her somewhere with no Wi-Fi and no mirrors, so she can't keep hyping herself up about being a free woman. Honestly, we should just start a sovereign citizen island. Ship them all off. No laws, no taxes, no mailboxes, just chaos, coconuts, and reality checks. Want to add visuals or turn this into a post-tweet thread style?
Okay.
I have priority interests and equity in this property.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Ballard. As I said, I have had a chance to review the magistrate court file and the appeal materials that you filed in this case. One question I did have, Ms. Ballard, is that part of the order that was entered against you, which you are challenging here, right? That the magistrate judges, the purpose of this action is because the magistrate judge entered an order that said that you were not entitled to possession, and that and you're challenging that order. And I understand that part. But part of the order also requires that for you to challenge it, you're required to make some payment into the registry of the court. And my looking at the system, I don't see that any payments have been made. I think that that's part of Ms. Akpati's argument in a brief that she filed a couple of days ago, that you have not made a payment into the registry of the court to preserve your appeal rights. Can you tell me about that? If you have made a payment and maybe I just don't have it in my system, or if you haven't made a payment, can you tell me the basis for that?
I have. They did not ask for rent. They didn't put an affidavit to ask for rent. So, and there's no contract. But I have paid into the court of registry. The paperwork is there.
Can you tell me how much you paid into the court registry?
All of it. It's on a continuous basis until this matter is resolved. The last month and the remaining balance, everything is in compliance with the order from Magistrate Judge Brooks.
Ms. Akpati?
Your Honor, just to get straight to the point, no payment has been made. I did call the court this morning, and there has been no payment made. So if Ms. Ballard is saying that she has made the payment, could she provide to the court some form of evidence showing that she's made the payment? Because again, as of 15 minutes ago, no payment has been made, or the court is not aware of any payment being made.
Yeah, I have looked in both the magistrate court file, which is often where those payments will go, and I've looked in this action, and the financial documents don't indicate that any payment has been made in either case, other than the original, I think, $103 filing fee that was paid by the defendant in the magistrate court. I don't see anything that indicates payment. I'm happy to follow up with the court because sometimes the clerk gets a little bit behind, but do you have any documentation regarding when you made those payments or the amount of the payment?
It was a couple weeks ago when I filed it into the court of registry.
Okay, what did you file? Did you file like a proof of payment, or what did you file?
It is basically a money order.
Absolutely. Here's a cleaned up and sharpened version that keeps all the sass and humor. So is it a money order? Or is it basically a money order? Because if she had handed over a real one, we probably wouldn't even be talking about this right now. This clown really thinks she's unlocked some secret legal hack, like she's inputting cheat codes in, GTA or something. Ma'am, you cannot pay your rent with a crayon drawing labeled Legalized Sovereign Citizen Bucks. I bet she scribbled it on notebook paper, signed it in glitter glue, and declared, "This is backed by my natural-born rights." Imagine handing that to your landlord and expecting them to say, "Yup, looks official to me." The confidence is wild. Zero hesitation, full send. You almost have to admire the commitment to the bit. But girl, this isn't Monopoly. Just because you called it currency doesn't mean it counts. Let me know if you want to crank the sarcasm up or bring it down a notch.
I apologize. I need to take a brief break for something. Hold on just one moment. Okay, Ms. Akpati and Ms. Ballard, I apologize for that brief interruption. Okay, so where we are right now procedurally is that there is a dispossessory order that was entered by Judge Brooks on December the 7th. Respectfully, Ms. Ballard, I don't, if you can provide me with some documentation of the payment, I'm happy to pursue that with the clerk of court and find out if there is some issue with it being credited to the wrong file or something like that. But absent any such documentation, there's no evidence that the required payment has been made.
So I tendered a payment into the Court of Registry. If my payment was not accepted, I would not have received a case number for this case right now. The payment was accepted. It had to have been in order to get this case number.
Actually,
so I have to feel bad.
Actually, that's not correct. So the file indicates,
absolutely.
Ms. Ballard, the file indicates that you submitted an affidavit of poverty and that poverty affidavit was granted for the filing fee. So you didn't have to pay a filing fee to be able to open this case.
Respectfully, I tendered a payment in the magistrate court.
Right. I'm not questioning, Ms. Ballard, that you did. What I'm saying is I need some documentation of that payment because there's no such payment reflected in the magistrate court. And so if you have a receipt, if you have a copy of the money order, if you have even a bank transaction indicating where you withdrew that money from, or where you obtained the money order, that would be some information that I could then go to the clerk and say, hey, I've got a party telling me that they made a payment and there's no record of it. Can you help me find this payment and why there's no record of it?
According to law, I tendered the payment, and I don't know if there's some type of mix-up between both courts, but I filed it in both courts. The tender payment is there respectfully. Otherwise, I would not have been able. They even said this has to be satisfied in order to get a new case number for this appeal.
Ms. Ballard, I understand that. All I'm asking is, can you tell me what was the amount? When was the payment? Where did you get the money order from? That's the type of information that I would then be able to go to the clerk and confirm that information. And then they might be able to track the payment and figure out where it went if you made the payment.
All right. Can you hold one moment while I get the information? Thank you kindly. Yes. So let me just turn on my camera real quick. Okay. So
Yes, ma'am.
I filed a notice of tender payment into the courts, and
Here's a cleaner, more polished version of your message while keeping the tone casual and conversational. So basically, what the paper is saying is that she's trying to use something called a tender payment, which is this fake financial method that sovereign citizens love to throw around when they owe money. It's not real money. It's more like saying, I paid with my vibes, and expecting that to hold up in court. They think if they word it just right and stamp it with some random seal, it'll magically erase their debt. But that's not how the legal system works. You can't just invent your own currency and expect the judge to nod along. Sovereign citizens pull this stunt all the time thinking they've found some kind of loophole, but it never works. Like, literally never, not once. She's probably hoping the court just gets confused and lets it slide, but all it's really doing is earning her a front row seat at another court date. I mean, if this does work somehow, I'm about to start. Paying off my loans in Monopoly money. Want it to sound more formal, more sarcastic, or keep this vibe?
yeah, so to settle this account, I did file tender payment to the courts, and I'm sure you can see the affidavit in there, and it has proper endorsement. It's been properly endorsed, and if you like, I mean,
Ms. Ballard, can you Can you tell me the case number on that? Is it this case number 2023 CV 390-111, or is it the 23 ED 284-322 case number?
It's 23 ED 284-322.
Okay. Give me a moment to look in the file and see what I can locate. Okay. Give me just a second.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your patience as I've sort of worked through this. Ms. Ballard, Ms. Akpati. I was able to locate the filing that that Ms. Ballard was referencing, which is a notice of tender of payment to settle and close account.
Yes.
And is that the thing you were referencing, Ms. Ballard?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. That was filed. It was filed in the magistrate court on December the 12th.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. My review of the notice that you filed. So first of all, I've spoken with the clerk of court, and they have no record of any payment. They have looked everywhere they can think of, including associated with your name, associated with this case, associated with the Superior Court case, and they can find no record of payment. But more importantly, Ms. Ballard, my review of your filing seems to indicate that you are rejecting the acknowledgement that there is that money would be any like it doesn't appear that you actually submitted legal tender of any sort to pay or satisfy this. You instead submitted some sort of signed, some sort of authorized representative document, but no money order, no check, which I don't think they take, no cash, no certified check, anything like that. Is that an accurate statement? Am I correctly understanding what you filed, Ms. Ballard?
I filed a tender payment, and it didn't, I mean, the law says that I can tender a payment. It never stated how to pay it. So, I mean, I fulfilled the contract based on the order. I mean,
Ms. Akpati, other than the motion that you filed regarding the lack of payment and your statements here that there has not been a payment, what is your position on behalf of your client on this matter?
My position is that this matter should be dismissed. The Ms. Ballard has to comply with the order of the court before filing this appeal.
And so I have reviewed what you filed now that I understand what I was supposed to be looking at. And, due respect, ma'am, but it is not filing a paper that says I hereby tender payment that is not actually accompanied by a payment recognizable in legal acceptable tender in the United States. Then you have not made a payment under any legal definition that I am aware of. And so as a result of that,
what species?
Excuse me, Ms. Ballard, I'm speaking, and in a moment I'll let you respond.